Hello, my name's Devin, and
Great start.
Check, and
Thank you for joining us in the virtual lounge. My name is Max.
and I'm Devin.
And we are trying something new. You might know us from Twitter, our music, or our failed Bandcamp podcast. But me and my buddy Devin are here to try a new thing with YouTube, new format, where we are just going to kind of pick specific topics to talk about for an extended amount of time. And that's about as far as I've gotten on this.
Max and I have been friends for a very long time, most of our lives, and he lives in Germany and I live in America. And it is hard for us to find too much time to talk over the phone, but when we do, we really enjoy talking about video games and movies, and we figure we might as well record it for other people to hear if they want to. What was that?
That was me trying to cover my microphone while I had to take a big sniff.
It didn't work.
Okay.
Let's start over.
We can kind of Frankenstein all this together.
We are not experts on movies or games or anything.
We're not really experts on anything, to be quite honest.
We don't really have anything to offer that anyone else on YouTube wouldn't, honestly, that you wouldn't get from anywhere else. But it's more, if you like us, you like our personalities, you like who we are, here we are. We're gonna talk about stuff we like to talk about, and we're recording it for you.
Wow, you're just going for the hard sale, just like right out of the gate. Oh,
That's what I'm saying. If you like it, you like it.
You can't get from anybody else.
If you want it, you want it. Here it is.
You've tried the rest. Now try us.
We're okay. We used to do a podcast, but this is a more approachable format for us. It's going to be a lot shorter, more focused on just a single topic at a time. And they shouldn't go too long. And here we go. We're going to get into our first one. We're going to talk about some Star Wars because we both saw Star Wars this weekend.
We're going to talk about the thing that has taken over the entire universe.
Galaxy.
Which is a one that's far, far away. Good one, Max. So, Devin, you saw Star Wars, last night? And I saw it, I believe, about 3 days ago.
Yeah, technically I saw it this morning at 12:15 a.m. and I got out at about 3:30. It was very long. It was a very long film.
Before we roll into what, because the bulk of this discussion is going to be about The Last Jedi, what is your, I guess, background with the Star Wars franchise? What does it mean to you, and how'd you grow up with it?
So as far as I remember, and I hate saying this out loud, but it's quite possible the first Star Wars movies I saw were the prequels.
That's fair. I've actually that's kind of like when somebody says their first Sonic the Hedgehog games were like Adventure and Adventure 2, and I hear that a lot actually. I knew and was aware of the Star Wars franchise when I was young, and I did see the original trilogy when I was very young, and I liked it. I wasn't like some of these people that just grew up with it and like it changed them and shaped who they are. I've always had a passing interest in the Star Wars franchise. I would say if you like made a graph or whatever of like, you got your average, Joe Blow everyman who like, yeah, Star Wars, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. And then like about 5 notches above that, you have like the Star Wars superfan that knows like the background characters' names and the cantina scene. I'm somewhere in the middle of that. I probably know a bit more than your average, Joe Schmo. But yeah, I watched them. I liked them. I really liked the prequels when they came out because I saw when they did the remastered original trilogy. I saw all those in the theater, and that was kind of a cool experience. Able to see those in the theater. And again, that wasn't like a life-changing experience.
That is very cool, though.
It was cool. I enjoyed it. I look back on that with fond memories. I was still very young when the prequels came out, and I liked them. I had a little stuffed Jar Jar Binks because I love Jar Jar Binks so much.
Oh, my.
Because Jar Jar Binks did the job that Jar Jar Binks was supposed to do. He was a fun little goofy CGI rabbit for the babies.
Sure.
And, like you, I got older. I was able to look back critically on all six films and go, hey, the original trilogy, those all really hold up, especially Empire. That
Mm,
prequel, I will always say the prequels aren't even bad Star Wars films. They're just bad films.
absolutely. And they don't
And
feel very much like Star Wars compared to the originals, which is something a lot of people are saying about this new movie, that it doesn't feel Star Wars. How do you feel about that?
I I don't know. This may be just because I've seen the prequels so many times. I actually have the riff tracks, which is the Mystery Science Theater
Hmm.
guys. I have them for all three prequels, and I actually watch them quite regularly. It's just something kind of fall asleep to. But I would argue that the prequels still feel like Star Wars,
Hmm.
probably more so than how I felt the Last Jedi felt like Star Wars, and that's something we can get into.
Right.
What did you think of The Force Awakens and Rogue One?
That's a good question. I really enjoyed The Force Awakens a lot when I saw it. I know that I knew while I was watching that it took a lot from the original movie, A New Hope, and I knew that as I was watching it, but it didn't bother me because it was just so fun and so good and so new and refreshing, and it felt like Star Wars again, and it felt like it just I loved the new characters, and I loved most of it. I really enjoyed it when I saw it, and I watched it a second time, and I enjoyed it just as much the second time.
What
Oh,
about
the
Rogue One?
Rogue One, I enjoyed it when I saw it. It was entertaining, but I don't. It's hard to describe. It was okay for me. It was good, but it just wasn't on the same level as Force Awakens was.
Fair enough. I've probably seen The Force Awakens probably three times, and I've probably seen Rogue One twice now. I loved both of them pretty much right off the bat when I saw them, both at separate times. Like you said, The Force Awakens felt like Star Wars, felt, we got to see Han and Leia again, which was cool, and it was kind of passing the torch to the new people. I know a lot of people uh, criticized it for, oh, it's just a retelling of A New Hope. I'll be honest, that didn't make a difference to me whatsoever, because at the end of the day, it was still an engaging story with characters that I cared about, and I liked
Yes.
it. It's set up. As far as the new series is going, Kylo Ren is my absolute favorite. I love him,
Kylo Ren is
and
one of my favorite villains of all time, and I love him so much.
he's
And
fantastic.
he's a
He's
great
layered.
actor.
Yeah, but anyways, and I loved Rogue One. Actually, I disagreed with a lot of the issues that people had with it. I would say I actually probably liked Rogue One more than I liked The
Force
Force
Awakens. Yeah,
Awakens.
you said that at the time. I remember you saying that.
And that still holds up for me. I have my own laundry list of reasons why, but that's this this isn't about those two movies. I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of background. So
For
you
sure.
you said you had a list of the plot, because that's actually something I don't have in my notes. So let's
Yeah,
break it
so
down.
so the movie opens up, and the first act, I guess, the first third of the movie was the hardest part for me. It
Hmm.
started off very rough, a lot of pacing issues for me, but the
Now, actually, and this is, I hate to say this because it's something that I've actually kind of been struggling with today. Um, how did the movie start?
so yeah, the it starts off with our text explaining that the resistance has been discovered by the bad guys. Who the bad guys?
The First
The
Order?
First Order has discovered the resistance base, and they have launched an attack on them. And the resistance it has evacuated, and they jump into hyperscape space to
You know
escape.
that's you know that's basically how Empire started too, as well.
Right. And they
Yeah.
jump into hyperspace to escape, but they have this new tracking device technology, and they were able to track them through hyperspace
Oh,
and
and
meet with
then
them.
and that
And
led
that
into the
starts
whole
off the
thing.
movie. Yeah.
That led into the whole thing with Poe Dameron doing the whole thing with the bombers, and right? That's where that happened at the beginning of the movie, right?
That yeah,
And
that
that's
happens before they jump into hyperspace, like or after. I don't know. I just remember, yeah, Poe gets in his ship, and they started off with this big, explosive battle scene, and
and
Poe.
they did that, so it's like, oh, we're starting with a bang. We're coming right out of the gate. But I don't know, considering the fact I barely remembered what happened, I guess it kind of had
For
an
sure.
opposite effect and just kind of blurred it. The most while we're talking about the beginning, they set up the character arc for Rose, who's one of the new characters they added for this movie, and they set her arc up by showing the death of her sister without showing us Rose at all whatsoever. So we're thrown right into
For sure.
this 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 character in this bomber ship. We don't know who they are, and me as an audience member, I'm going, oh well, I guess this is important because, oh, why is she touching that necklace on her chest? Why is this one random character who's obviously about to die getting so much screen time? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. And then Rose shows up later, and we're like, okay, I guess,
Oh.
I guess I gotta care about her now.
Yeah, yeah, they have that big scene, and Poe, goes against Leia's orders, and then he wins, but at what cost?
Mm.
And kind of, I
Can
don't
I
know.
just can I just note that I think, aside from Rose now, I think Poe is probably the least interesting addition to the new movies.
Yeah,
As far as characters are concerned, I don't know. For me, I don't know if anyone else sees it like this, but every time he's on screen, to me, it's just like I'm the new Han Solo,
uh,
and oh! Now that I'm just thinking about it, I'm remembering how the movie begins. Remember that scene at the beginning when Poe gets has like a direct line of communication with the redhead dude in the dreadnoughts.
yes, and he kind of does that goofy
Yeah,
scene.
that was the first moment in the film that I said to myself, "Uh oh."
It was a,
uh,
it was a little strange, man, because like it was funny. I did chuckle, but at the same time, it was like this is out of place and feels kind of forced.
Okay, well, yeah, Forrest, get it? Because I would like to compare and contrast to the opening scene of The Force Awakens, when the old guy gives Poe and BB-8 the map, and then the place gets raided by Kylo, and there's one very delicately placed, well timed joke in that when it's like he's like Poe's like, Is this where I talk or is this where you talk? This is where we talk." Like, you remember that?
Hmm.
Do you remember
Yeah,
like that? And I thought it was comical because it added a little bit of levity to the scene, and it did not overstay its welcome.
this was a very long joke.
It was a long joke, and it was a sign of things to come
It
for
was
this
also
film.
like, okay, come on, they're not that dumb, right? They're not that
Like,
stupid, are they?
we've and as a I don't know, I might be incorrect here, but as a whole, like, when I think of Star Wars, I don't think of like a necessarily very comical series. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, they've always had jokes, they've always had little hee hee ha ha moments, and they ramp that up a little bit in The Force Awakens to a point where I found it acceptable, where it's like, oh, okay, we got a good balance here. We got a good balance of everything. The jokes in The Last Jedi are just, they come at you so often and so fast. And the worst offender is every serious scene is bookended
Yeah.
by a joke. And when that happens, I've lost my attachment to the film. I have been taken out of it, and the entire serious scene just went in my mind, just like, oh, okay, haha.
Yes,
Don't
because
I don't care as much anymore.
they seem out of place and unnatural and put in on purpose to, you know, be a joke. And they don't seem like that's what those characters would really say in that moment.
Yeah, because we'll get into my thoughts about how I feel like this movie is a product of committee thinking, and like it
Mm.
obviously is, and that's
Hmm.
that's something I want to save closer to the end of the discussion. But
Okay.
so anyway,
After
we're going.
that, Kylo, uh, leads, the TIE fighters in, and there's this moment where he kind of hesitates to shoot Leia, to shoot, at the ship where he sees Leia standing there. He can clearly see her. He feels her with the Force. He feels the connection with her, and he decides not to shoot her. It was in every trailer, and it's just like at this point, I'm like, well, obviously he's not going to do it. Obviously, that's misdirection.
There were two moments within this film, aside from the kind of cringy comedy shoehorned in there. There were two moments in this film that like I literally had to like stop and look around at the theater and seeing how everybody else was reacting to this, because my first thought was like, what the fuck?
That was exactly how I felt. I am staring at the screen while Leia is like floating towards the ship, and I'm like looking to my left and right, like, are you guys watching the same movie as me?
Because like I do I do appreciate the fact that now they have officially touched on the fact that Leia has Skywalker Jedi blood in her and she can use the Force, which she does exactly twice in the film.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. That being said, I think there's probably a way better way they could have handled that didn't literally make me go like, wait, are you guys serious? Like, we're really doing this right now,
I
aren't
felt
we?
like it was also another gotcha moment, and there were so many because it was just like, okay, you saw it in the trailer. Is he going to shoot her? Oh, he didn't. Gotcha. She's not dead. And then it was like,
Well,
and then it was like, oh look, she's done. She's going to die here. Leia's going to die. Oh wait, nope, she didn't. Gotcha
well,
again.
you got to think about it. Like, the thing that we do not know is how much this film was tinkered with or edited after Carrie Fisher died.
For sure.
So, um, considering how much work was probably put into the whole Leia floating back to the spaceship thing, my guess is that was probably in the movie before she died. Like
It
that's
seems like it had to be. It seems
it
like
had
all of this was already done, but it
there was
does.
only there was only two moments in the film where I had this quick little flash of like, that looks like some post Carrie Fisher editing where it wasn't really anything completely noticeable. It's just like where they showed a shot of her face where whatever she was in the ship, or it just felt like, ooh, that feels just a little too fake to be
Yeah,
originally
and I
planned in the
get
movie.
that. It's just for me, it was like maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe this is the way it was always supposed to be, even before Carrie Fisher died. It was just like in the trailers, every time they'd show, is he gonna kill Leia? And it just had this very strange feeling of like they're almost profiting off of her dying because it's like how are we gonna get River? How are we gonna take her out of the movie? You know? And it's like, is this how she dies? Is this how she dies? And it just kept happening. And it's like she's
Well,
escaped death again and again.
it's going to be, I'm just going to note that it's going to be really, really awkward when the third movie comes out and either they mention that she died in the credit scroll at the beginning, or they completely CGI Carrie Fisher to have her die.
It is
So that's
very, yeah, I
so
don't know.
regardless of how it's going to go, it's going to be funny.
But yeah, that whole scene of her just unexpected. There's a lot of stuff in Star Wars, mostly this movie, where it's just like, well, the Force. Well, how did she do that? How did she survive? Well, the Force. She has the Force, and the
It's
Force can, at this point, like do basically anything. I think it's just
yeah,
like it can pretty much do anything.
like the Force. It's kind of a plot wank, but if you can.
I am okay with the fact that like they are using the Force in new ways in this movie. Like it's not just lifting up things with your mind and
Yeah,
controlling people, and props to them for making new ways of using the Force. But it's also like, so is there anything it can't do?
yeah. Well, it's like, I'll give you
Is
an
there any
example here.
stakes? Can anyone even die?
I'll give you an example here. It's like you can watch a Superman movie and enjoy the film as long as you can accept the reality that a alien is flying and can use, and he can just do that. He can just do that. Kind of in the same with Star Wars. Like, you can enjoy it if you just accept the Force, what it is and what it can do. I did, speaking of the Force, I really, really, really liked the when Kylo and Rey were having their Force chat. I
We'll
thought that
get to
was
that in a minute when we
we'll get to
get to
that,
that point. But for
but
me,
still, last thing I'll say about the Carrie Fisher space Odyssey was yeah. So did the Force like give her a force field in
don't know.
space? Did
That's one
it
of the problems I have with the
move
movie.
her
I don't know.
lungs? That was just yeah.
They don't explain it.
That's
It's
why
just
I
the
don't
Force.
accept it
Yeah.
because it's outside the logic of the Force as far as I can see it.
And it just destroys all stakes for me. What stakes are there if is it what how can she can't die now? Like what can the force not do, you know? So it kind of was just ruined the stakes for me. It's like, well, what I guess if you're that powerful in the force you're invincible. But
Did you think Finn was gonna die during that one scene?
we'll get to that, but
We'll
yes, I
get to that.
100% thought he was going to die. Uh,
I yeah, we'll
but
get to
we
that.
will
But
get into that later.
yeah. So
So then the TIE fighters destroy Leia saves herself using the Force, but then she's knocked out for a good while. And Holdo takes command, the girl with the purple hair. Um,
which, by the way, I do like me some Laura
oh
Dern.
boy. Oh
Ooh,
boy. Oh boy.
she was she was she
Oh
was
boy. Oh boy.
she was my lanky gilf mommy girlfriend.
Poe, Finn, and BB-8 and Rose embark on this plan. Rose finds Finn trying to escape, and they go on. They contact what's her name, the alien lady, and they
Butthole eyes.
I don't I don't not remember her name,
Yeah,
and
not Yoda.
they contact Not Yoda, and she says, "Go find this code talker." And so they go to the casino planet to get the code talker.
On that note, did that feel just a little too complicated for what it should have been? Because it's like we gotta we gotta call Butthole Eyes. You gotta go to this planet,
I like
and
Not Yoda.
you gotta okay. We gotta call Not Yoda and she's gonna tell us what to do. You have to go to the casino planet and you have to go get this code breaker. He's gonna have this little flower. And then we went casino planet, but they didn't get the code breaker, but they got a different code breaker.
They got a code breaker, but
They got a
what?
they
But
got a guy who I honestly don't understand his role in the film
so
because
during
was he
dur
supposed to be funny? Was he supposed to be like intimidating? Was he just supposed to be like, oh, I'm quirky because I stutter, waka waka?
before they go there though, let's talk about how this is not just one scene. This is intertwined with Ray's story. We have all these things going on at once, and I'm not saying you can't manage that well, but I don't think they did. The pacing was very weird. It just felt very strange, and it felt very fast paced, and everything was happening at once in these three different locations, and this was the hardest part of the movie for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you feel about just the first act overall? Like, what did
I'll
you
be
have issues with the pacing and stuff as well, or is that
I'll
just
be I'll be honest with you. The pacing was not so much of something that I found too much issue with because I think the other issues I found were so glaring that they kind of
ah?
overtook that.
I see.
But I don't I don't really have a problem with a lot of things going on at once so much. I mean, yeah, I do agree because if you look at the original trilogy, like, they all start off fairly simple and they always only kind of have one
Hmm.
thing going on at once.
One or
It's not
two, yeah.
it's not even really until Jedi until we have like multiple shit going on at once because it's
Yeah.
like, Luke's on the Death Star. We got the Ewoks on Yavin Endor. And then we have Lando Calrissian in the fighter and the Millennium Falcon. But yeah, the pacing and the thing is, you keep on breaking up by acts. Maybe this is more of a testament to the pacing. I don't even know where you would break up specific acts in this film.
That is 100% what I'm talking about because I don't either. How do you
I
feel
will say,
about Luke throwing his lightsaber off the cliff?
you know,
Because that's the
I
first thing we see.
I don't remember if that scene or the quirky dialogue between Poe and the redhead dude happened first, but whichever one happened
Mm,
first was my
definitely Poe.
was my oh no, and then followed up with
Because like this scene, it was another scene that was hyped up. It was at the end of the last movie. You see them standing there for like a solid 30 seconds, just she's holding the lightsaber, and you're like, oh, what's he gonna do? And then they show it again in the trailer, like she's handing him the lightsaber, and then it's like, wham, he just tosses it. And it's like, I get it. Like everybody in the theater laughed and we're like, that's funny. And it's like, oh, come on though. Like, is
it
that
broke.
really you
It
just
broke.
it broke
Sorry.
everything. Yeah, no,
It
you're right.
broke.
It broke
It
the immersion. It
it broke all the emotional tension, and it's funny because I was thinking about that scene today and thinking about that's how they decided to start off Mark Hamill's
yes,
um,
character
story
arc.
character in this, and I thought, how would I fix that scene? And my thought was, she would hand him the lightsaber, he would hold it, he would look at it, and he wouldn't comically toss it over his shoulder. He would either kind of just kind of let it fall out of his hands onto the ground, or he would just do a very light toss right in front of him to raise feet. Because, I don't know, to me that just has a lot of more emotional weight to it. Okay, yeah, we can still have the stupid scene with the porgs almost killing themselves with a lightsaber, which is one of the few things I found legitimately funny in that movie, because I wanted to see fucking porgs die. But yeah, just throw it at her feet. That conveys to the audience like Luke is not having any of this,
Or he just doesn't pick it up and walks right by her and just
and it does,
does not
and
touch it.
it
Says
gets
I don't
all that
even
out.
want to. I don't even want to touch that. I don't even want to look at it.
And if it was reshot like that, it gets all the emotional weight across, and then it doesn't totally destroy that with a joke.
Because it just doesn't seem like that's what he would have done. You know,
It really doesn't. But then
it
again,
doesn't seem like it when he's the way that he talks, and he's very serious about everything from then on. But
except when he wants to drink green milk out of a disgusting creature's udder breast.
what was that?
Oh,
What was that?
that was one of the many little scenes that the corporate Disney head said, "Hey, you gotta get a joke in there real quick, or the kids will stop paying attention."
Was
Yeah,
was it supposed to be a joke? I didn't even. I was like, what am I watching? What is going on?
there was a little bit where Rey was following Luke, and that could have been when that was happening. My mind told me like, "Oh, okay, this is going to be kind of cool." He's refusing to teach her. She's just going to follow him and wear him down and just kind of mimic what he's doing. Maybe he's going to do some meditation, and then she's going to do some meditation, and then maybe he's going to do some training, and then no, that's just immediately thrown away because he wants to go drink disgusting green breast animal titty milk.
I felt like they were trying to make him out like Yoda, where like it's just like in
Empire.
Empire Strike Back, where Luke goes to meet Yoda, and he's supposed to be this great master, and he goes, and it's like Yoda's actually a goofball and like almost like a drunken old little tiny man, and he's doing all these silly funny things. But then it's like, but Luke isn't entirely that. He's like really dark and mysterious and depressed and all this stuff. But then at times he's also really stupid and silly. And he does things like throwing the lightsaber and drinking the milk. And it's like they couldn't. It wasn't a good balance for me.
There was reasoning for that with Yoda in Empire, because it's supposed to be teaching the lesson that like, oh well, not everything.
Don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah,
exactly. Bringo.
For the most part, he's pretty ridiculous. But Luke isn't. He just has like a couple of jokes. Like, oh, look at me drink this milk. Look at me toss my lightsaber. And then at the other moments, he's like super serious.
And they're not even verbal jokes. They're
it's just goofiness.
Comedy.
It's
physical comedy, I would suppose.
So that was very hard. Just that whole scene was very difficult for me. Let's talk about the porgs.
Well, going into it, I'm like, okay. The moment I saw the porgs, I'm like, wow. So Disney is really going that blatantly over the top with the cutesy shit.
Yeah.
To sell this. Like and again, this will be something I return to, the committee thinking. That's going to be a big point I come back to, which what all this is going to tie into.
Yeah.
But I saw that and I thought that because what was the big cutesy push for The Force Awakens? BB-8.
Right.
Oh well, we can't do BB-8 again, so we got to do the thing. But so the movie, they go on Luke's little island, and they're kind of just background things, and
They're
there's a
just
little
there.
there's a little comical bit with the jumping on the lightsaber, which, like I said, I found actually funny,
Hmm.
and then they're just kind of in background. But when we got to the point where they kind of took over the Millennium Falcon, and they're flying, and it's got to be got to splat against the windshield. And I was just like, oh God, make it
The
stop,
part where
please.
Chewie is like about to eat one of them, and then he sees them, and he's like, "Oh, they're so cute. I can't eat these." And I'm just like, "That is not Chewie's character.
Chewie
Chewie
wouldn't
would
do that.
not care. He would
Chewie's
not care."
This is the same dude that ran straight into an obvious net trap because he saw some meat.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's
Same dude.
no way Chewie would have thought, "Oh, that's adorable." No,
What the fuck did Chewbacca do during this
he
movie?
was there.
He was
Chewie
there.
was there. He flew the Millennium Falcon, and he was there. Anyway, Porgs. I felt like they were really cute, and they could have been good, but they're just way too much. They were in the entire movie, and they should have just been in like that first part. And they kept them in the entire film because I think they want them to be in the next one.
Oh, of
And
course they're gonna. At the last shot of the movie where you're seeing all the
yeah,
people on the Falcon, you're seeing, well, playing with little porgs. I'm gonna play with my
like
porgs.
it was just too much. It was too much. Anyway, yeah. So you wanted to talk about kind of Ren and Kylo's like weird Skype calls. They kept
Yeah,
having throughout.
this would be a good
It was
point.
interesting.
It uh, again, the by far and away the most interesting thing I found in the film, because I wanted to. I like seeing that relationship. Rey's kind of pulling at his light side, and Kylo's kind of pulling at her dark side. I don't know. I've talked to a couple of people with this, and not all of them agree. Um, did you feel like that there was like a lot of sexual tension between them during some of those Skype calls?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and that was I dug that quite a bit, because now Finn's paired up with Rose, so that leaves room for like next movie, like, ooh, maybe something will
Right,
happen
because at the end of the
there.
movie, you even see Finn kind of like looking over her as she's unconscious, and kind of you see Ray look over and like, oh, kind of jealous. Skip ahead a little bit here. We see Luke and Kylo kind of giving different recollections and accounts of what happened to Kylo Ren, and my
Which I
ish.
also enjoyed. I
I
did like
enjoyed
that.
too, but at the same time, it was like, okay, you're telling me that what happened was Luke was training Kylo, but Kylo got turned by Snoke, and then Luke got nervous about that, almost killed him, but then didn't kill him. But then Kylo was like, "Oh, he's gonna kill me," and got mad. That's all good, but who is Snoke? How did he
Who
convince Kylo Ren? How did he even talk to him? Who? I don't. I understand that, like, maybe that'll be revealed later. But if it isn't, it's like, who is this guy? Do I have to read the novels? Like, I
I'm
have no idea who Snoke is and how he even got to Kylo in the first place. And that
um
bothered me a lot.
I'm really glad that you brought up Snoke, because I'm gonna take you back to when I saw The Force Awakens,
Oh, can't
and
wait.
we're seeing this big monolithic, fucked up
Oh,
face
yeah.
Snoke talking to Kylo, and you're going, who is that? What's
Mm-hmm.
his story? Ooh, he's like super evil. He's like evil incarnate.
He's
He's
like
awesome.
Emperor 2.0.
Yeah, it is cool. And then it's like, when they're even so when they were showing him like in the first like hologram in The Force Awakens, and he's giant.
And he uses the Force without being there,
Yeah,
which was
and he's
crazy.
and he's giant, and I don't know. You're thinking he might be that big, but
Yeah.
anyway. So jump ahead, watching The Last
It's like how
Jedi.
you see the Emperor and he's always really small. And you think, is he really that small?
Yeah, he's just like a
He's
little
just a
old
little
man.
man.
But jump to The Force Awakens. He still looks cool as hell. I think
Oh, yeah. The
That
CG
messed
looks
up
very good,
face.
or whatever it is. It looks
Yeah, it
very
was.
good.
Have
It's
never
that
had a
point where you
problem.
can't tell, is this a dude fully in makeup? Is it a dude, half CG, or is it a completely CG dude?
Yeah, even when people like were complaining about how Grand Moff Tarkin looked in the Rogue Awakening, I did not see a problem with
I
that.
felt like if I didn't know the dude was dead, then I would not have noticed. But because I did notice, and it was a little distracting.
I honestly, I noticed, but it wasn't to a point where it was like jarringly noticeable to me.
Yeah.
But
But
any
anyway,
hoozle,
Snoke.
so we're like, oh, look at him. He's got this cool, awesome red room. He's got all these red like knights like protecting him, kind of
All
like
of
the
it was
Emperor.
very cool.
Very cool.
It was.
It was.
There was so
Uh,
many times where it showed that stuff, and I out loud went, "Oh wow!" Like
yeah.
whoa.
And then he just fucking dies.
He just dies.
And then he's just dead. And then
But
it's like,
for me, that was like it was actually like, oh my god, like oh oh he's really dead. Okay, all right, that's actually very unexpected. Very very unexpected.
pretty much from the moment that, like, he started putting Rey in front of Kylo, telling her to strike him down. Like, it's like, I knew he's going to die.
Oh, I
Snoke's
knew
gonna,
he was
Snoke.
going to try, but I just did not think he was going to actually be able to do it. And I actually was surprised in that moment. I'm sure, some people will be, some people won't be, but I was shocked.
I'm, I'm just more upset over the fact that, like, okay, you built up this dude and you just killed him off halfway through the second
I
movie.
do agree with that.
There's,
He was a red herring,
there's, I guess so. So I guess the real, true, ultimate enemy is going to be Kylo. I
which I kind
guess.
of like because it's like, okay, look at the different direction we're going in. We're not sticking with Emperor and Vader, Emperor and Kylo. We're changing it up, and I do appreciate that. But then at the same time, it's like, was he really just like a complete red herring? Like, does he really have nothing else to offer this? Was that it for him? That's it? I totally agree with you.
I don't know. I would have liked to see more,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't be expected to have to go read novels or graphic novels or play video
100%.
games to know this. Like that's
Yes.
no, that's stupid. I
Yes,
don't agree with that.
100% agree with you on that. Anyway, any hoozle, Yoda was there and he was amazing. Just all
I
of it
liked
was
Yoda,
so great.
and I honestly, and I don't know if this was because it was like around midnight or I actually got a blinding headache about halfway through the movie, or I just kind of wasn't caring as much. But I did like Yoda. But I honestly, I cannot tell if he was a puppet, if he was 3D, or if he was a combination of the two.
Yeah. From what I understand, he was kept true to his puppet form, but I mean I don't know for sure, but that's from what I've heard. But either way, I loved every moment he was on the screen. At first, I was like, "Oh, huh," and then I was like, "Oh, this is very good because this is Yoda. He is Yoda, and that's great."
Yeah.
It was good.
Um.
It was very good. I
Do
didn't
you
expect it.
mind?
I didn't see it coming.
Do you mind if I get really cynical asshole real quick
Of
about
course.
something? Okay. I did like the Yoda scene. I thought it was cool. It was true to Yoda. Yoda was Yoda. It was cool. This is now the fourth different looking version of Yoda we have seen.
Hmm.
Because now we have Puppet Yoda from Empire and Jedi, and then we have worse looking puppet from the original version of Episode
Oh,
One,
that is the absolute worst one.
and then we got the
Cool
much better
Yoda.
CGI looking Yoda from Episode Two and
Right.
Three, and now it's a puppet again. That was
Yeah.
just a very minor thing in my mind. I'm like, that, I don't
Doesn't
know.
bother me that much because when I watch these movies, I completely block the prequels out of my brain. I pretend they don't exist because I really, yeah, I just try
Well,
not to think about them. So when I see, Yoda in
well,
the first trilogy, Yoda in the second trilogy, yeah, he looks a little different, but not a big deal. I don't think about the prequels because they're garbage.
Well, the prequels are canon because Jimmy Schmitz was in Rogue One.
Yep, but they're garbage.
They are. They're awful. They're
Anyway,
terrible films.
he was great. Yeah, really cool fight scene with Rey and Kylo and Snoke. Really, can I just say I loved the camera work and the just the artistic shots. All the shots were very 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 good. There were so many shots where I went, "Oh man, that's really good."
So beautiful. So many beautiful vistas. All the
Like
vistas.
very nice vistas, but just a lot of really good shots. And but I totally forgot what I was going to say. Really nice shots. Oh, there's a moment very, very early in the movie where Kylo Ren takes off his helmet and then he doesn't put it on for the rest of the film, and I hate that because I love his helmet.
He has a very cool helmet, but
It's cooler with the hood. The helmet and hood combo is very good, and I love his voice. And it sucks that
I
he had to take it off for the rest of the film and destroy it. And now he has no helmet.
I really do like Adam Driver as
God, me too.
I like his voice, I like his face, and I really okay, you would not call Adam Driver a conventionally attractive
Sure.
actor.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I like, because when you see, in The Force Awakens, I'm Kylo Ren. He's got the deep voice. He's got the
So
weird
mysterious.
looking mask. And then he takes it off, and he's just like, oh, he's just this lanky,
so
weird
great.
looking dude. It is.
It's
awesome.
not what you expect at all, and it's great. And yeah, I absolutely love him. But we've talked about how much we're gushing over him quite a lot. Anyway, to try and wrap it up here, skip to the end.
Well, no, let's not, because we didn't even talk about the casino at all.
Oh, because you know why? Because it didn't need to be in the movie,
No,
and it wasn't interesting, and
it didn't.
Completely forgot about it.
I didn't care about the casino. I didn't care about the horse dog things. And I really, really didn't care about the orphan children that they live there. They just live in that barn.
Don't care. This is all one of those scenes where it's like, this has to happen in order to get from A to B. We need this in between so that they can get the dude to betray them later. And I was just like, I did not like that entire part of the movie.
Oh, no, I didn't either. And we had those kids just so we could have that one shot at the end. And I forget who said it, but this line has been stuck in my head ever since I heard it because I hate it so much. Let me try to get it right because it was so monumental.
Go ahead.
It was something like, "We are the spark that lights the flame of hope."
Yeah, something like that.
And I'm just like, oh, God. Especially there at the end. Like,
there will be more Star Wars. This is not the last one. I promise.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, really in the middle and way more at the end. They really hammered in that hope shit.
For me, it was just like, okay, the movie's called The Last Jedi, and they say The Last Jedi like 3 times in the movie, and they're like, but it's not. We are the hope. There is always hope. There will be more Star Wars. We will continue. And then you see the kid at the end, and it's like, it's like, oh, the Force is with that kid. Yeah, and it's like, oh, he's another Jedi, so it's not The Last Jedi. And it's like, okay, I get it, guys. Anyway, I have nothing to say about that scene except that it was just there, and it was it didn't seem needed and made the movie longer than it needed to be.
It's not a good sign that, like, we're having to go through this and there's so much shit that I'm struggling to try to remember, because I hate to keep bringing them up, but when I saw Rogue One and The Force Awakens, I feel like I pretty much remembered.
You remember the beats and the points of the movie.
Almost everything that happened.
Yeah.
Because they were well constructed films.
Totally agree with you. And it was more of an adventure. It mostly takes place like in space at this, this scene that's happening in space there with the rebel and the resistance, and it takes place on the island, and it takes place in that casino for like a little bit.
That's probably one of the reasons they had to put the casino in
Just to
because
get another place in, yeah.
they went like, oh, we gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that whole thing. And they had to give, Finn a reason to, like Rose and to understand her character. And they had to give Rose character development for some reason. I think
What
she didn't really
character?
need to be in the movie at all.
What is can can you can you please describe to me what is Rose's character? What is
I
some
don't
defining traits of
even.
Rose?
She is a engineer who works for the Resistance. She had a sister who died, and she looks up to Finn as
No,
a
no, 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 no,
hero.
no, Devin. Those are facts about her. I'm talking about what are her characteristics as a character? What is her
She
personality?
is soft spoken and cares about things.
She yep.
um,
It's like trying to describe Padme Amidala or Qui Gon Jinn's character. This this movie, The Last Jedi, it feels like the first Star Wars movie to me that feels blatantly like a product that was made from committee thinking. It's the porgs. It's the comedy that needs to be thrown in every 3 seconds. It's the love story they had to shoehorn in between Finn and Rose. And because okay, Disney, I know they're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate company. They own Star Wars, they own Marvel. I think they just own Fox now. I
yep,
think that just
most of it,
recently
yes.
happened. And I know they did that for Rogue One and The Force Awakens, and those still felt like fun, adventurous Star Wars movies that somebody wanted to make because they wanted to continue the Star Wars movie. This one felt like The Last Jedi felt like a chore. It felt like everything was coldly calculated to appeal to the broadest spectrum of an audience that was possible.
Yeah, I do agree with a lot of that. So at the end of the movie, they make it to not Hoth. And uh, let me be very, very, very clear. This is salt. This is not snow. This is not snow. This is salt. It's a different movie. These are not AT-ATs. These are new ones. They're different ones.
I'll be honest, that didn't really make a difference to me.
I'm sorry, but there was a scene where it close up on this man and he puts his finger in the sand and licks it and goes, "That's salt." And I was like, "Did you literally just do that so we wouldn't think it was snow and go, "Oh, they're just doing Hoth again." Like you didn't
it's
need to tell me that in
yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
they did.
Like, do
Yeah,
you
they
need
did.
to directly look into the camera and go, "This is salt that is on the ground." You could have made
They
it more interesting than that.
No, they needed to because they couldn't have the audience going, "Oh, is that snow? Ooh, is that blood?" But really, really quick little anecdote. When that scene happened, and he tasted it, I don't know if I just couldn't hear very well, but I swear to God, he said, "That's salsa." And which like fucked up my brain because it was red, and I'm like, wait, did they
Wait,
say?
is it
There's no way they
salsa?
really could have said
No, he
that.
said that's salt, and I went, Okay, it's not snow." Anyway, I really did dig that whole red white effect. It was so cool. I was watching a review from Chris Stuckman, who just he put out his Star Wars review, and I was watching, and he talked about how he went back and watched it and paid attention to this scene where Luke and Kylo are fighting, and he took note that Luke did not make any red marks in the sand or in the salt, and Kylo
Ah,
did. And this is something that obviously just did not even notice at all. But man, that does show that they did at least put a lot of attention to detail in this movie, and I did really appreciate that. And that is really cool that they did that.
yeah, I didn't realize that, and I I am going to watch this movie again because I don't
I
know.
probably won't.
I probably will just so I can really solidify my opinions on it. But I guess we've been going on for a while right now. I guess we should start
Yeah, I'm
heading
trying
towards
to wrap it up.
wrapping up. So I guess um
Well, let me just say, I loved. I really did enjoy that scene on in the salt, not snow planet, and I did really like how there was this very very tiny crew with these very very big stakes. I loved the whole Death Star cannon, where it was like it's like a mini Death Star cannon. It's like oh we gotta get the Death Star in here somehow, but all right, this is kind of cool.
yeah, that
And
was cool.
I really did think Flynn was going to sacrifice himself. They got me. I thought he was going to die there, and I would have been okay with that. But I really did think that was where he was going to die.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do a backtrack real quick to something that I meant to bring up earlier, going back to Laura Dern and the spaceships and everything.
Oh, okay.
Um, and this is I just something
Yep.
I would hate to not bring up.
Sure.
There's that whole bit where Leah's like, "Come on, Laura Dern, you gotta get on the escape ship with us," and she's like, "No, someone's got to stay behind to pilot it." And I thought, okay, this marvel of futuristic science fiction engineering and technology does not have an autopilot.
Brother literally turned to me and said that during the movie.
It doesn't have some sort of
It
remote.
was either my wife or my brother. One of them was like, "Wait, they don't have autopilot in this galaxy? Are you serious? That doesn't make any sense." And also, that scene was so hard for me because I was like, they're really trying to get this tearjerker moment of like, she's leaving her, she's gonna go sacrifice herself. And I'm like, who is this person? I don't even know. I don't even know her. I've known her for like 2 minutes as kind of a jerk, and
Yeah, too bad. We just don't, as an audience, we
I
just
did
don't
not care.
care.
I didn't care about her.
I think this film would have benefited a lot more if we just tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah,
We kept it just about Ray and Finn
yeah.
and Leia
Mm-hmm.
and Luke and I already said Ray and Kylo. Like, because if you look at I hate to keep on comparing to the original trilogy because I
Oh,
mean
you gotta. You
it's
have
a
to, though.
good trilogy of films that stand up to this day. If you look at them, like from the beginning of A New Hope to the end of Return of the Jedi, we do not pick up that many new characters along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we get Yoda and Lando in Empire, and then we get the Ewoks in Jedi,
It
and
is a lot of characters and a lot of who likes who, who's romancing who. Does she like him? Does he like her? Does she like okay, does are Ray and Kylo a thing? Are Ray and Finn a thing? Are Finn and Rose a thing? It's
I
a
hope Rose just like straight up sleeps with Poe in the next episode. Just we'll open the film right
That's
now,
another one. It's
dun,
Finn and
dun,
Poe
dun, dun,
a
dun,
thing.
dun, and then
It's
the
just
credits roll up, and then it's just them screwing, just going at it in bed, Rose and
yeah,
Poe. It'd be fantastic.
in the original, it really was just like a love triangle. Just these three characters, period. And that's
Yeah,
it. And in this one, it's just a lot of, yeah, trying to get emotions out of people sacrificing themselves and all this stuff. And it was a lot of characters and it was a lot. And this movie was longer than it needed to be. Any Hoozle, at the end, Luke comes and saves everybody, but he's not really there. You know, it reveals, oh, he wasn't there all along when he, slices him and it's like he wasn't there. And
which is cool.
it was cool. It was, and then Luke dies at the end, I guess. But my problem with it was like, okay, what just happened? Like, so I understand. Like, I've seen the other movies. Okay, Obi-Wan did the same thing. He kind of Darth Vader stabs him with the lightsaber, and then he disappears, and it's just his robe. He is the
Yoda does the
Force
same
now.
thing too when
Yoda
he
does the
dies.
same thing. Anyway, yeah. So we get Luke kind of disappearing and completing the whole, and that legacy, and it's like, did he just like decide that was the end and like Yoda where he just I'm done and he leaves, or was it like he actually got hit with that lightsaber and it was kind of like when you die in the Matrix you die in real life where like he actually
No,
you
no, no,
think it
no,
was
no,
just like
no.
I'm at peace, I've done what I need to do.
No, I
I can
think
leave now.
my thought
Or was it that he
was,
built up he used too much power?
yeah, my thought was that he literally used every last bit of his life and his strength
Okay.
to remote force himself across the galaxy to do that, and I was happy with. I think that was a very fitting end for Luke Skywalker.
Kind of felt like he could have just gone there and just been there
And
and
then he
then
would
just
have
died there.
and then he would have died for real. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's quite as
Well, my wife was like, "Well, how would he
excuse me.
get there?" And I was like, "Well, his X-wing was there. They showed his X-wing there. I thought they showed it so that he would use it later." And it was like, "Well, it's been there for like a billion years, so it's probably fried at this point." And I was like, "Oh, I guess
Probably
you're probably
you probably just like
right."
more like just 40 years, Devin.
Yo, I was exaggerating a billion years. I didn't mean a billion years. All right, so that's it. That's the movie. Talked about
Devin,
it a lot longer than I expected, but that's okay.
what would you out of one to 10 scale, what would you give the Force the last
It's
Jedi?
so hard for me to give a rating after just seeing a movie, but I want to say a seven because a seven is good on my scale because a five is like, okay, this is your average movie, and then six is like, okay, it's a little better than the average movie, and then seven is like, this is a very good movie, and then eight is this is excellent, nine this is amazing, and 10 this is the greatest movie ever. So for
Yeah.
me, a seven is like, this was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was
Yeah.
entertaining. I had a good time. Am I going to want to go back to it a few times? No, not really. Was it longer than it needed to be? Yes. Were there a few scenes I would have taken out entirely and changed entirely? Yes. Were there characters I would have omitted? That kind of thing. So for me, a seven. I think a seven.
Fair enough. I would give it a 5. I'd give it a 5
Wow.
out of
Okay.
10.
All right.
I,
Just
you
kind of
know,
average for you, huh?
yeah, I mean, I mentioned way earlier in this show, like the first moment, pretty much from that first moment with the comical dialogue between Finn and the Poe and the redhead. That pretty much from that moment on, I did not have very many emotional stakes in this film anymore.
Yeah.
Aside from when I was interested with the Kylo stuff, um, yeah, that's where it lost me, and I stayed lost to the end. I've talked about the numerous problems I've had with it, mostly with the shoehorning in of a comedy and having too many characters, and it just feels like a movie made by a bunch of corporate Disney boardroom executives who said, "How can we make this appeal to literally everyone?"
Yeah. I do
So,
understand that.
and I saw the movie with a bunch of as Red Letter Media would call it, drooling fanboys who just want to see lightsabers.
I see.
Uh, and they loved it. They loved it, and I could not say a word to them. I could
Mm.
not say anything. But I
Pretty much
will.
everyone who was with me kind of felt the same way. Like, yeah, that was good. That was fine. It was okay.
I left the theater disappointed.
Uh, I went in with this, stigma of like you're either gonna absolutely love this movie or you're gonna absolutely hate this movie because it felt like there was such a divide on the internet and people I talked to were either like, "Oh yeah, it was good," or "Oh yeah, it sucked." But for me, it was like it was all right. It was a little
It,
both.
it
There were bad
was
moments and there were good moments.
it was okay. It was
Yeah,
it was a film. I
it was
felt
fine.
like it. I felt like it's on par with one of the lesser Marvel films,
There
like
were
maybe
moments that
Thor.
wowed me. There were moments I loved, and there were moments I hated and wish weren't in the movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
not terrible, not the worst, but not the best.
Yep, but we can look forward to Star Wars movies pretty much for the rest of our lives now. So,
All right, thank you
uh,
for listening. If you've made it this far, but we went over a little longer than we wanted to, but I really enjoyed talking to you about this movie. And like I said before, this is kind of us talking, and we're just putting it out there for people to listen to. If you want to listen to it, you can. So let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. We like movies and we like video games. So
and TV
uh,
shows
TV shows too. Yeah, just pop
and
culture stuff in general.
anime more me, not so much Devin, but that's there too.
Yeah, drop us a comment with any questions you have. We would love to answer any comments that you have and any ideas for future videos. We'd absolutely love to hear it. So thank you all very much for listening. We really appreciate it.
thanks for tuning in. I had a lot of fun chatting with my buddy Devin, and thanks for listening to the Virtual Lounge, and I'm hoping there will be many more. You can take a look at all of our social media links here on the screen, which I assume will be made and put right here while I'm talking. So, Devin, it's been a good chat. Thanks for talking about The Last Jedi with me, and I hope you have a good one, buddy.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. And we will see you guys in the next video.
We will see you next time in the Virtual Lounge in
Peace.
video.
And cut.